How'd you do? This is my first time doing a voiceover for a video, so I hope it's not too weird. My editing might be a little janky for this one too, and I'll pretend that it's entirely because of the Windows 10 video editor and not any fault of mine. So yeah, let's get into the drawing. I'm redoing an artwork I made 3 years ago, in 2017. I called it, like, Romantically Challenged or something on DeviantArt. It features two characters near and dear to my heart, Kumono Mizushima and Sero Yasai. The names are absolutely whack in my original story since I was in middle school and developed it through freshman year of high school. Sero's the guy on the right and Kumono is the guy on the left. His name, changes at some point in his early story. It becomes Akumono Kodoku, which was me thinking I was subtle about things, somehow, but he returns to his original name by the point that this drawing would be taking place. These characters are pretty special to me as they portray aspects of myself. Sero was the embodiment of traits I liked about myself, and the friends he made were modeled after real people in my life, although with many liberties taken in their portrayal. He's supposed to go through the story with rampant suicidal ideation going on in his head, which gradually decreases as he begins to see how much love his companions have for him, and as he develops his own sense of self-worth. Sero sort of ends up saving Kumono, who I'll lovingly call Kumo because I think it's cute, who had a similar past as he did, although Kumono had many more complications, less luck, and went down a different avenue of handling it all, which was morally wrong and not actually very helpful to him at all. Go figure. Kumo is supposed to have a lot of my negative traits, but he eventually rounds off into a better character and a better person through Sero's influence. Whereas Sero's a bit of a pushover doormat, Kumo's an active and aggressive person, and they trade off a bit so that Sero grows a backbone thanks to Kumo, and Kumo softens his edges and learns to cope with his problems thanks to Sero. There are a lot of elements that are so convoluted it hurts, but I still kinda love parts about the story I made. Kingdom Shuffle really was just a bunch of teenagers coming to terms with past trauma in a hierarchical society, with the double action bonus and drawback of having special, specific powers. It's a dark and absurd story overall, but I think it has its own charm to it. Who knows, maybe one day I'll properly revisit it and retry doing a comic. So, I spent a lot of time talking about the background of the story and these two characters, but let's talk about the actual drawing now, shall we? So, I'm using Paint Tool Side 2 on my Surface Pro 6 laptop tablet thing, and I use a Wacom bamboo ink pen. I use OBS to record, but until I messed with the settings, I was recording the screen weird and kept making side lag, so that was an endeavor, to say the least. I wanted something similar to the pose of the previous picture, but the original had a weird window pane thing going on that I didn't necessarily want to figure out the logistics of, so I did it after having looked at a bunch of hilarious Cabadon references on Google and deciding to go with none of them. I've learned a lot of lessons about shading and lighting through both trial and error practices, as well as watching a bunch of YouTube tutorials and speed paints. I think I'm starting to get the hang of balancing soft, feathery shadows and hard-edged ones. I didn't really like how I did the hair's highlights though, since it's a little half-baked, but it serves its purpose well enough, so we'll let it be. During the last part of recording, I forgot to hit record, and so I missed out on recording the shading and lighting for the eyes, the clothes, and a bunch of other stuff. So, rip in peace, they'll be missed. I really am glad that I've improved my art over these past 3 years. I've been improving and reinforcing my grasp of anatomy, and I'm beginning to understand what everyone means when they talk about composition in art. In this work, I was trying to show some contrast in their coloring as well as in the way they hold themselves. Kumo, by this point of the drawing, would be a little more gentle and less demanding, but he's still taking up more of the frame and pressing into Sero's space, whereas Sero is taking up less of the image and is more passively reactive. The hand resting on Sero's shoulder shows a bit more of that assertiveness. It's kind of aggressive even, but Sero's hand holding his arm shows a bit more of Sero keeping the situation under control. The boy's stronger than he looks, I swear. I also assure you that he is a boy, and that this does in fact confuse others in the story. I had a long conversation about it on Discord. Speaking of, I actually have a server that I'll leave the link to in the description. There, I share art, fan fiction, and talk about fandoms that I love. I'll also leave a few of my other socials linked in the description too, in case you're interested. You can usually find me under Jui-Imouto-Chan, with some variations of hyphens, spaces, and underscores. I'll leave a link to the finished piece as well as the original in the description. They're both on DeviantArt, and this one will be on Instagram and Tumblr too.
close to someone. I know this ain't love, but let me stay a while. And pull me closer tonight, keep holding my hand. I know this ain't love, but let me stay the night. I said let me stay a while. 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 No, no, I don't need a degree to know this ain't love at first sight. 'Cause I know how this works, I got my ABCs right. Oh, so let's play pretend. Say you'll be the one for me. Say you'll be the one for me forever. I know this will end tonight, but you'll be the one for me. Say you'll be the one for me. It's been so long since I got so close to someone. I know this ain't love, but let me stay a while. And pull me closer tonight, keep holding my hand. I know this ain't love, but let me stay the night. I said let me stay a while. 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 I said let me stay a
So here we have the piece from 2017, and here is the new drawing 3 years later. I think it turned out well. I do wonder if I could have worked a little bit harder on some of the effects and maybe some more of the line art, but I do think that overall I'm quite satisfied with my progress so far. I think that my anatomy has gotten better, posing, overall composition and colors. Everything just seems more polished than before. If you thought so too, then feel free to leave a like on the video, maybe subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the drawing, the process, and any suggestions you have for the future. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.